We are living in a moment that history will remember, not because we chose it, but because it chose us. Artificial intelligence is no longer a distant concept locked inside a science fiction novel or a Silicon Valley boardroom. It is here, it is accelerating, and it is quietly rewriting the rules of how we work, think, create, and survive. But here is the uncomfortable truth most people refuse to face. This shift is not coming gradually. It is arriving all at once, and the majority of us are simply not prepared. Every industry, every profession, every skill set that once felt secure is now sitting under a question mark. The doctor, the lawyer, the writer, the programmer, none are exempt. And yet, the world keeps moving as if tomorrow will look just like yesterday. We scroll, we work, we plan our futures on foundations that are already shifting beneath our feet. The ones who will thrive are not necessarily the smartest or the most experienced. They are the ones willing to face what others are ignoring. So before the wave crashes, it is time to open your eyes, understand what is truly happening, and decide which side of this shift you want to be on. Jobs are not disappearing. They are transforming. We have heard the warnings before. Every major technological revolution in history came with the same fear: that machines would steal human work and leave millions with nothing to do. It happened with the Industrial Revolution, it happened with the rise of computers, and it happened with the internet. And every single time, humanity adapted. New jobs emerged, new industries were born, and the workforce restructured itself around the new reality. But here is where most people make a dangerous mistake. They look at history and assume the same comfortable outcome is guaranteed this time. It is not. Because what is happening with AI is fundamentally different in both speed and scope. The difference today is that AI does not just replace physical labor or repetitive manual tasks. It replaces cognitive work. It can read, write, analyze, diagnose, design, code, and strategize. For the first time in history, the machine is not just taking over the factory floor, it is sitting down at the office desk, walking into the meeting room, and doing the thinking. This is not an upgrade to the assembly line. This is an entirely different kind of disruption, one that reaches into the very skills that educated professionals spent years and fortunes acquiring. Think about what this means for the accountant who spent a decade mastering tax law, or the junior lawyer who bills hours reviewing contracts, or the graphic designer who built a career crafting visuals from scratch. AI systems can now perform significant portions of each of these jobs faster, cheaper, and without complaint. This does not mean these professions vanish overnight, but it absolutely means that the version of these jobs that exists today will look unrecognizable within the next decade. The question is no longer whether your job will be affected. The question is how deeply and how soon. What is actually happening is a profound restructuring of human value in the workplace. The tasks that once justified entire salaries, data entry, report generation, basic research, customer queries, content drafting, are being absorbed by AI tools at a pace that companies are finding impossible to ignore. Organizations are not waiting for permission to adopt these tools. They are already doing it, quietly and efficiently, because the economic incentive is simply too powerful to resist. And when businesses discover they can produce the same output with fewer people, the math becomes brutally simple. But here is the part that rarely makes it into the headlines. The people who understand this shift are not panicking. They are repositioning. They are asking themselves not, will AI take my job? But rather, how do I make myself the person who works with AI, directs AI, and delivers what AI alone cannot? The transformation of jobs is creating a new class of worker. One who uses artificial intelligence as a tool the same way a previous generation used spreadsheets or search engines. Those who master this relationship early will find themselves not replaced, but elevated. Those who resist it will find the ground disappearing from beneath them. And this is precisely where the real divide is beginning to form, not between the rich and the poor, not between the educated and the uneducated, but between the adaptable and the resistant. Every profession is now sitting at a crossroads, whether its members acknowledge it or not. The transformation is already underway. The decisions are already being made in boardrooms and hiring offices, and the window to get ahead of this change is narrowing with every passing month. Which raises a question we're sitting with. If the nature of work itself is being rewritten, what does that mean for the skills, systems, and structures we have built our entire lives around? Speed is the new currency. For most of human history, experience was the most valuable thing a person could bring to the table. The older you were, the more you had seen, the more you had failed and recovered, the more indispensable you became. Companies rewarded tenure. Industries respected seniority. A doctor with 30 years of practice was worth more than a fresh graduate, not just because of knowledge, but because of accumulated time. Time was the ingredient that could not be faked or shortcut. You simply had to live through it, suffer through it, and let it slowly shape you into someone worth listening to. That was the deal, and for generations, it worked. AI has quietly torn that deal apart. Not because experience no longer matters, but because the speed at which knowledge can now be accessed, applied, and acted upon has completely changed the competitive landscape. An AI system can analyze 30 years of medical literature in seconds. It can review thousands of legal cases before lunch. It can generate, test, and refine a marketing strategy in the time it takes a human team to schedule the kickoff meeting. The gap between knowing something and doing something with that knowledge has collapsed almost entirely, and that collapse is reshaping what it means to be valuable, competitive, and relevant in any field. This is why speed has become the defining currency of the AI era. Not raw intelligence, not credentials, not even creativity alone, but the ability to move. To learn a new tool before the competition does. To absorb a new concept and apply it the same week. To iterate, test, fail, and improve at a pace that would have been considered reckless just a decade ago. The professionals and organizations that are pulling ahead right now are not necessarily the most brilliant. They are the most agile. They are the ones who saw a new AI capability emerge and immediately asked how they could use it, rather than waiting to see what everyone else would do first. What makes this particularly unsettling is that the speed advantage compounds. The person who starts using AI tools today builds familiarity, develops instincts, and discovers efficiencies that the person waiting on the sidelines simply cannot catch up to later. It is like interest in a bank account. The earlier you move, the more it accumulates in your favor. And the reverse is equally true. Every month spent in hesitation is a month of compounding disadvantage. The world is not going to pause and wait for those who are not ready. The pace of AI development does not slow down out of courtesy for human comfort. Organizations are already feeling this pressure in ways that are restructuring entire industries. Startups with tiny teams are outpacing legacy corporations with thousands of employees, simply because they have built their workflows around AI from day one. A two-person company armed with the right tools can now produce what once required